Welcome to Inner Flow Shift, the podcast where science meets spirit, and perception meets profound truth. I'm your host, Nick Comwood, and together, we're about to embark on a journey to explore the very fabric of existence, unraveling the mysteries of matter, energy, and consciousness. Here on Inner Flow Shift, we tackle into the big questions: what is reality? Is the physical world truly solid, or is it simply an illusion created by vibrating energy? Could everything we see, touch, and experience just be manifestations of a deeper, unseen truth? Whether you're a curious seeker, a scientific mind, or someone on a spiritual path, Inner Flow Shift is your space to expand your perspective and explore the interconnectedness of all things. So, take a deep breath, open your mind, and get ready to shift your inner flow. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself scrolling through social media or looking at someone else's life and thinking, why don't I have that? Maybe it's a career milestone, a relationship, or even just the way they look. Comparison is a habit we all fall into, but did you know that it can steal your peace and distance you from your true self? In this episode, we'll dive into why comparison feels so natural but is so harmful. We'll explore the science behind it, the spiritual wisdom that helps us overcome it, and I'll share a powerful story about finding clarity about the illusions we chase. So, grab a cup of tea, take a deep breath, and let's begin. Let's start with why comparison feels so automatic. It's rooted in our biology. Our ancestors used comparison as a survival tool. They had to evaluate their environment, comparing resources, identifying potential threats, and assessing their standing in the group. It was a way to adapt and thrive. But today, that same mechanism has shifted. Instead of survival, comparison is now tied to self-worth. Neuroscience tells us that when we compare ourselves to others, the brain's reward system temporarily lights up, giving us a fleeting sense of motivation or validation. However, it's short-lived. Afterward, we often feel inadequate, because there's always someone who seems to have more, do better, or look happier. Social media amplifies this cycle. You're not just comparing yourself to your neighbors or colleagues, you're comparing thousands of people. And your brain isn't designed to handle that. This constant comparison activates stress responses, leaving you feeling drained and disconnected. But comparison isn't just a mental or emotional challenge, it's a spiritual one too. And that's where I want to take you next. From a spiritual perspective, comparison is an illusion, a distraction from the truth of who we are. Think about it, no two stars in the sky are the same, and yet each one contributes to the beauty of the night. The same is true for us. When we compare ourselves to others as lacking, we believe that someone else's success, beauty, or happiness diminishes our own. But the reality is, we're not here to live someone else's journey. We're here to honor our own. So, how do we step out of the trap of comparison? One of the most profound lessons I've ever come across came to me in the form of a story, and I want to share it with you. In a quiet village surrounded by hills and a peaceful lake, there lived a young man named Daniel. Daniel was admired by many for his intelligence and charm, but he felt restless and unfulfilled. Every day, as he walked through the market, he noticed what others had: a larger home, a successful business, or a seemingly perfect family. The more he compared, the more he felt like his life was missing something. One evening, while sitting by the lake, Daniel noticed an elderly woman named Eleanor rowing a small boat. Eleanor had returned to the village after years of traveling and seemed to carry a sense of serenity wherever she went. Curious, Daniel approached her and asked, "Eleanor, how do you stay so content? I have so much, yet it feels like it's never enough." Eleanor smiled and invited him into her boat. As they rowed across the still water, she handed him a pebble and said, "Drop this into the lake." Daniel did as she asked. The pebble broke the still surface, creating ripples that distorted the reflection of the sky. Eleanor pointed and said, "The lake is like your mind. When it's still, it reflects the beauty of what's real." But when you compare yourself to others, you create ripples, illusions that distort the truth of who you are. Daniel frowned. But how can I stop comparing? It feels automatic. Eleanor guided the boat to a small island in the middle of the lake, where a solitary tree stood. This tree doesn't compare itself to the trees on the shore, she said. It simply grows, nourished by the sunlight and rain, offering its fruit when the time is right. You, too, must root yourself in your own essence. Instead of looking outward, look inward and ask, what makes me unique? What can I offer? Daniel returned to the village with a new perspective. Each time he felt the pang of comparison, he practiced imagining himself dropping a pebble into the water and watching the ripples fade. Over time, his mind grew still, and he began to see the beauty in his own life. Daniel's story teaches us a powerful lesson: comparison is a ripple that disturbs the stillness of our mind. But with practice, we can let go of this habit and reconnect with our own unique path. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what's good in your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. If social media leaves you feeling inadequate, take a step back. Take breaks to protect your mental health. Spend a few moments in silence, asking yourself, what makes me special? What gifts do I bring to the world? Use the pebble visualization. Imagine dropping a pebble into a lake each time you compare yourself to others. Watch the ripples fade, and let the stillness return. Remember, you are not here to live someone else's life. You are here to grow into the fullest version of yourself. As we wrap up, let me leave you with this thought: when we let go of comparison, we reclaim our peace. Instead of chasing illusions, we can focus on what truly matters, being present, embracing our journey, and offering our unique gifts to the world. When we let go of comparison, we free ourselves from one of the greatest sources of inner turmoil. Comparison is a thief of joy, a quiet but persistent voice that tells us we are not enough because someone else appears to be more successful, more talented, more loved, or more accomplished. But what we often forget is that comparison is built on illusion. We see only fragments of another's life, mere glimpses of their reality, and yet we measure our worth against their highlight reel. True peace comes when we stop chasing these illusions and redirect our focus inward. Each of us is walking a unique journey, shaped by experiences, gifts, and challenges that are ours alone. No one else has lived our story, just as we have not lived theirs. When we honor our individuality, we realize that life is not a race or a competition but an opportunity to express who we are in the most authentic way. Letting go of comparison allows us to be fully present. Instead of looking outward to see how we measure up, we can look inward to discover what truly matters to us. It's in the present moment that we find clarity, gratitude, and connection to what's real. By embracing our journey as it unfolds, we not only reclaim our peace but also align with our purpose. From this space of presence, we can offer the world something far greater than a polished image. We can offer the gift of our truest selves. And in doing so, we remind others that they, too, are enough, just as they are. If you like this type of content, please subscribe and like. My name is Nick Comwood, your host. Till next time. So that we can bring insightful content for you.